Today, I'm going to tell you the three things, and really it's only three things that you need in order to generate leads. Today's video is going to be a relatively quick hit, but it feels like something that I'm continually explaining over and over to prospective clients and people that are trying to build their B2B or their B2C marketing program, and specifically around lead generations. So let's jump right into it. Number one, a landing page. Now, preferably, this is a landing page in the context of a larger website for a variety of reasons. But most importantly, having a website around your landing pages creates credibility and trust, specifically showcasing your expertise around whatever that product or service is that those visitors landing on that page seeking. It's really important to show that there's depth to your offer, and having that landing page inside of a website where they might actually wander off a little bit into some of your blog content or maybe some of your other pages, or probably one of the most popular is the About page, just to see that there's people behind the actual company that's offering the product or service. So number one, a landing page. Number two is another one that's often sort of glanced over or not understood well enough. But number two is you need a high converting form. So what does that mean? Most people think it's just sufficient to put kind of your run of the mill contact or web form, something that says name, email, and has a little description box with a submit. And that really doesn't do it at all. In fact, if you put that on a website or you push people to your contact pages, there's a really good possibility that you'll have a number of visitors that come there looking for a product and service, but they just simply will not convert. Again, factors that go into that. One, a web form in and of itself sort of shows low credibility. Most people that have ever filled out a contact form, maybe yourself included, on a website, you'll find out that those inboxes or that form doesn't even work. It's not monitored. So a lot of times those contact forms, just from these visitors and online internet savvy people, have realized that most of the time, if they fill out that contact form, just simply gets them nowhere. They'll get no response. So it's a little bit of a conditioning thing that makes those perform less as far as just nobody fills them out, right? So the second aspect of this is most of the leads that are generated, the visitors that are filling out forms or making phone calls, based on the data that we've seen directly, anywhere from 80 to even higher percent of the people that are filling those out are actually filling them out on a mobile phone. And if you've ever tried to fill out a traditional web form on a mobile phone, it can be a little bit dicey. Oftentimes the autofill doesn't work right. Increasingly, there's some security reasons not to autofill those kind of forms out. There could be hidden fields in there that could actually suck in your saved credit card data and stuff like that. So again, there's some conditioning to the consumer's behavior that's making them less inclined to fill those out, and they're just hard to kind of get in those little boxes and type those things in. So what does a high performing internet lead form look like? Well, simply, and I try to describe it in a couple different ways because you may or may not have experienced this, but it's generally a multi-step, meaning you're asking one question at a time, survey style, meaning that you're asking a question, you're giving some multiple choice answers, and they're simply selecting that and then going to the next question. So sometimes you'll hear people call these lead funnels, or you'll hear progressive forms or multi-part or multi-step forms. But what you're trying to achieve, and again, this is the context, this is the sort of the scientific basis of why this works. One, you're simply asking them questions. By asking them questions, it feels like they're already starting the process of getting to their ultimate goal of getting the product or service that they're looking for. Those questions should indicate some credibility to the fact that you understand the problem and the solution that they're trying to get to. The other thing, and I like to sort of say this often just to really characterize it better, and something that you're probably familiar with, is remember when you were in school and the teacher said, hey, we're having an essay test or we're having a multiple choice test. which would you prefer to take? The classic web form is kind of like that essay test, especially when you get to the description box. Like, what do I put in there? How do I tell them exactly what I'm looking for? They got to think. And anytime you ask a visitor to think on your website, there's a high probability that they'll just sort of give up because we've been spoiled on the internet. We're expecting to get exactly what we want as fast as possible. And this survey style form, this high converting style of form, just gives them a multiple choice question and test. And sometimes that produces a better lead because they actually, as they're answering those questions, they're sort of thinking through and they're getting more sort of the higher intent, or you're raising their intent as they move through that form. And then ultimately they give you contact information and submit. We've got landing page, and now we've got our high producing, high converting lead form. Now on to the third thing. And this is probably the most mysterious part of actually generating leads. And that is to get visitors who are interested in your product and service to visit your site. Us marketers like to call this traffic. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible because it can get really convoluted quick. And this confusion often sort of paralyzes people or just prevents them from producing the leads that they're hoping for. Okay, so traffic, visitors visiting your website, I categorize, and most marketers do, in two ways. There is first party traffic, and that basically means that you generated the traffic. That traffic generally needs to come from somewhere else. Where is that traffic? Where is that visitor before they get to your website? For most of us, our website is not like a name brand, right? We're not American Express, we're not Nike. So that has to come from somewhere else, and you have to show your brand in some other place. Well, 90% of traffic, this is kind of an interesting stat, and it should inform the way that you generate leads. 90% of traffic starts on Google in some way, right? Google search engine, YouTube, they definitely have a monopoly as far as traffic. So how do you get them from Google to your website? That can be PPC, which can be Google ads. You can also lump into this PPC category Facebook ads. They have another high percentage. They're, I kind of think, in the top 3 to 5 for sure. So you can get them there with pay-per-click or PPC. That's Google ads, Facebook ads. You could also run YouTube ads if you're doing video content. The other way is SEO, search engine optimization. And so that's kind of your earned way. You try to earn your way into those results by producing good content. These could be posts or pages on your website that you've optimized in order to get them to rank high in search. Of course, that's going to take a little bit longer. And then, of course, there is social media. This can be YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and a variety of others, Instagram, those sorts of things. Again, you're putting your content on that platform that already has your audience and your ICPs, and you're trying to show them whatever that offer is, whatever that interesting piece of content is, and you're trying to pull them back to your website. So again, you're getting traffic. That's why we call it traffic. It's coming from somewhere else, and your traffic is moving into your website. The other place or the other tactic is email marketing. And so generally, email marketing takes one of two forms. Either it's a newsletter where you've gained a subscriber, and again, you probably use one of those other techniques in order to gain that subscriber to your list. It could be past leads that you've gotten from somewhere, right? Either through these first-party ways or through a third party where you're buying traffic or you're buying leads. We'll talk about that in a second. The other way is, and people often think about the newsletter, MailChimp, and those sorts of things they've heard about, but they forget about one of the most valuable sort of sources of email marketing, and that is people that are in your CRM that you've had contact with, but for whatever reason have been unresponsive or simply didn't convert the first time that you talked to them. You should have some sort of email lead nurturing campaign, and that process will actually get people to come back to your website and then generate another lead. So that can be one of your most productive types of email marketing. So that's first party traffic. That's ways that you can generate traffic to your website that will ultimately land on a landing page and convert via your lead form. Or, by the way, don't forget, always put that phone number there, because a lot of these will opt for, because they're on their mobile phone, to just hit the phone number and call you direct. Okay, so that leads us to the other huge category. This is $1 billion, maybe $1 trillion industry of lead generation. It's the the industry that I occupy as well. What third-party lead generation or third-party traffic does for you is they use all of those same methodologies to, under their own brand, generate that interest to their website. I'm going to talk about some alternative or additional ways that they generate traffic. But at the simplest form, they're using all those same tactics that I just walked you through to get that traffic to their site. And then they're introducing an offer, what we call an offer, or they're introducing your brand as a featured recommendation to that visitor, to their website, coming through their marketing, and they're posting or showing them that offer. They click through and go to your website, your landing page, and convert on your form. That's kind of the most ideal because they are using their brand to attract the customer. They're making a sort of trusted recommendation, kind of sort of like a referral. It's not as good as the traditional referral, but they're making a recommendation for you. That's the offer, and then they're coming to you. So that's the sort of the best scenario for third-party traffic. Now, let's get into some of the grayer techniques. And I say gray in the sense that whenever you're getting third-party traffic or you're buying third-party leads, that customer, just by the simple nature, that lead is going on a meandering journey that can leave them a little bit confused and disoriented. So this is producing those type of leads when they're like, oh, I didn't give you my information, or I didn't inquire with you, or I didn't fill out anything. Why are you calling me? Like, the chances of them sort of truly not doing anything is pretty slim, but they are probably legitimately confused and a little bit disoriented as to why you're calling them. The other ways that third-party lead generators can potentially get that visitor to your landing page or produce that lead that you bought is what we call affiliate traffic. So now we're kind of 2 hops away. And this is where things start to get a little bit messy. So we have this website out here that we've created an affiliate relationship with, we being the lead generator. That affiliate site is using one of those variety of marketing techniques that I talked about. They're pushing that traffic to the lead generator site. And then that traffic, those visitors are seeing your offer for your brand, and then the traffic is being pushed on to you, or the lead is being generated and posted to you. So you can see where that can get a little bit messy because that journey has been a couple hops away. They've seen 2, maybe 3 brands at this point. So they probably are a little bit confused as to how they got there and who potentially will be talking to them. The other way is potentially being on a lead generation site. That visitor has filled out a form already, inquired, and then on the thank you page, they've been given additional offers, other things they might be interested in. And then they may kind of go down that path and fill that out too, and then that traffic is given to you. So that could potentially produce that person, that visitor, actually inquiring with multiple people, multiple different companies, right? The original inquiry that was posted to someone, and then maybe they've given an additional, this is particularly becoming popular with the requirement for one-to-one consent. So them having to specifically go to one person, exclusive leads are not as profitable for most lead generators. So as a result, they could actually be given an offer of, hey, yeah, you inquired with this particular entity or company, but here's an alternative. Here's one of their competitors, or here's somebody else, or maybe you should shop around and try this person too, or this company too, and they fill out a subsequent. It could be a related offer, so something this product sort of relates to, or you might also be interested in or need this other product or service. So it could be relative. So that can, again, produce some confusion. They filled out one form and then they filled out a second one, or maybe their information, they kind of approved their information going other places, right? Opted into that. So that can get a little bit confusing. So the other kind of really popular one is potentially getting aged internet leads. So some internet leads, even the ones that you buy and that are sitting in your CRM, go unresponsive or don't get matched or monetize on the lead generation side enough to make it sort of profitable. The marketers are always looking for additional sources to increase that ROI. And so there may be this population of aged leads. Again, this could also apply in first party as well as third party, but there could be this population of aged leads that are sitting out there. And then ultimately those aged leads are given to an outbound call center or put into an email outreach campaign or put into a direct mail campaign. And so that aged leads, again, people who have inquired at one time for that product and service may then in the future, maybe several weeks or months down the line, they may be remarketed to in a way, and then potentially they again inquire. And so third party traffic or leads can be a little bit confusing, but those are the three basic pieces that you need to assemble to get lead generation. And you may wander, particularly on the traffic aspect, through a whole variety of these as you need to scale, because one particular tactic is probably not going to get you all the way there. Even your first party and third party decision, you may be able to do first party up into a certain scale. And then if your sales team or your revenue goals get large enough, you're just going to have to go out to the third party. So it becomes really important to understand these different components of lead generation. And then as you go out and you get more traffic, that's the thing that helps you scale, you will understand how all those elements get together. So as you're putting together a B2B or a B2C marketing plan, a lead generation plan specifically, you need to think about these three components. You need to think about the landing page, the high converting form, include your phone number there as well, and then where you're getting traffic from. And those three elements together, as simple as they sound, 1, 2, 3, is the complexity that becomes your lead generation marketing program. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you liked it, you got some value from it, I'd love you to do me the favor of liking it and then hopefully subscribing to our channel where we do all kinds of things like this that will hopefully make your lead generation better.